today's session we're going to be focusing on our hip flexors and our quads and also our hamstrings. So just stretching those, getting a bit more nimble. This is going to be really great for anyone who runs or cycles, but even if you don't, you can still do it. Prop-wise, we're definitely going to be needing a yoga block, or if you don't have a yoga block, a thick book or a cushion or a roll-up blanket. We'll be using that in our standing sequence, as well as possibly in our seated part. So put that at the top of your mat, within reach, right from the start. You may also want to use a belt for when we get to the floor. If you don't have a yoga belt, use a towel or a belt of bathrobe or a scarf. And as always with the yoga class, if there's any poses you don't like, don't do them. If you know that you have injury or pain in your hips or in your lower back even, then please be really, really mindful and just move carefully through the practice and skip poses if you want to or need to. And if at any point it becomes a bit much, you don't want to move as fast, you can slow down, you can come into child's pose, you can come to standing. That's it. I hope you have fun and enjoy. We're going to be starting kneeling. We're not going to sit here for too long kneeling because I find that my calves fall asleep. But as we sit kneeling, I think kneeling might be in Sanskrit Virasana, but it translates as hero pose, which I always think is really sweet because it's just easy to be a hero in this pose. So just sit kneeling, maybe your toes touching, legs together. If you find it more comfortable, have them slightly apart. Hands wherever they naturally fall, or you could just put them in your lap, palms facing up. But if you find it nicer with the palms on the thighs, you can also do that. If you did that, palms on the thighs, you could maybe push into them, roll your shoulders back and down. That could be quite a nice, active way of sitting. But definitely rolling your shoulders up, back and down, opening our chest a little bit. We also here want to sit so that our shoulders are stacked over our hips. We don't want to lean forward too much. We don't want to lean back, which is quite unlikely, it's not that comfortable. We don't want to arch our spine either, just trying to sit with a nice, straight, natural spine. As we sit here, taking breaths, starting to breathe in and out through the nose, and trying to stick with that as we move through our yoga practice. Breathing here. If it's really uncomfortable, you could place a cushion between your calves and your thighs as well. Or you can come out of it any time your legs fall asleep. I can feel mine falling asleep already. Just taking a few breaths here in your own rhythm. Maybe closing the eyes, just to slow down. Arrive, leaving the week, the day, the morning behind us. Try not to think of the time to come, the day to come, the week to come. Take one more deep breath here. And at the end of the exhale, open your eyes if you close them. Alright, we're going to start with a toe stretch. We've definitely done that before, it's been a long while. So here you could use your block. Just coming onto your toes, having, if you can, your big toes touch. And you could use the block here, and as you come down, rest your knees on that block by bringing the floor up towards us with the block, with our prop, or roll up blanket or whatever. It might become a bit more comfortable. Or you could just place your knees on the floor. And the more forward you are, the more your chest is in front of your knees, so to speak. The less weight is in your toes, the less intense the stretch is going to be. So let's all move into this together now, sitting
as much above, like stacking our shoulders as much as we can, same as we just did in kneeling, over our hips, and feeling that stretch in the toes. If you have any type of surgeries to fuse like big toe joints or whatever, like be really mindful. If you've broken your foot in the past, be really careful. Anything, like any issues with your feet, just be really careful here. And obviously the longer we sit, the more you're going to feel the stretch, and I find this really, it's really uncomfortable. But I also, I think it helps a lot when you get into plank. Like you'll feel your toes a lot, like I don't know, it just feels more stable. And if you want to come out a little bit, just rock forward. We'll sit here for a few more breaths, and maybe if you want to try bringing your heels together and moving your heels apart, and how that changes where you feel the stretch in your toes. With your heels apart, the weight is spread a bit more evenly through all the toes, so you feel it a bit more in the little toe. The heels together, you feel it mostly, or I feel it mostly, in my big toe. So just move around a bit, sitting here for, let's say, 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And to come out, we bring our hands out in front of us, and we unflex our toes, and we sit just in kneeling again. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys find it as terrible as I do, but it's very not nice. But as I say, I think, especially when you run, if I never really stretched after running, which might explain why I was always really tight when I ran, and my muscles and legs. But we stretch our hamstrings, we stretch our quads, we stretch our hips, but we forget about our feet. And as a little counter stretch, we're sitting here, kneeling, toes are pointing back. Bring your fingers sort of next to you, slightly behind, so the back of your bum, so to speak, and see if you can lean back and lift your heels off the ground. Knees off the ground. And if you find you can balance here, you could raise your hands off the ground and place them in your heart center. Amazing, really well done. We're coming out. Let's sit back and stretch our legs out in front of us, and maybe let's just shake our legs out. Shake them out, relieving those calf muscles. By that rocking back, we stretch the front of our foot rather than the toes, which is a nice counter stretch. And now sitting here, we're sitting with our legs out in front of us. You can sit on a cushion if you want. And what we're going to do is hands next to us, maybe in those 10 fingers again, and next to our bum, and we're going to flex our feet, we're going to point our feet. Flex and point. Flex and point. Let's do a few more. Flex and point. Flex. Point. One more. Flex and point. Let's shake our legs out again, if you want. And we're going to come to stillness again, sitting here nice and tall, open chest. And now let's spread our toes wide, and then let's scrunch them together as we're trying to grab something off the floor. Spread them wide and scrunch them together. I'm sure scrunching is not the right word. Spread them wide, scrunch them together. 2 more. Spread wide, grab with your toes. Spread wide, grab with your toes. Lovely. Maybe shaking the feet one more time. We're going to bring our feet towards us, just for a really brief cobbler. No need to bring your feet as close to your groin as you might normally do. It's still really early. I'm going to leave them quite a bit away. You feel a very gentle stretch on your inner thigh. Let's just sit here, sitting nice and tall, holding your taller ankles here, sort of pulling us a little bit forward, maybe shifting our weight tiny bit forward if you want. Just holding here, really gentle stretch for the inner thigh. Breathing in and out, maybe if we can, slightly opening the soles of the feet, separating them so that only the little toe edge of the feet is touching, and obviously the heels. Stay for 2 more breaths. Okay, and from here, we're going to come to a tabletop for our cat-cow. Tabletop, our knees are hip-width apart, our hands are shoulder-width apart. Knees are under the hips, hands are under the shoulders, so maybe moving them in or forward a bit more. Wrists, elbows and shoulders are stacked on top of each other. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And our toes are pointing back, or you could flex them if you wanted to. Good, let's stay here for one moment, really active, pushing into the ground, maybe sucking in or engaging your core a little bit. Looking down slightly ahead of your hands. And with the next inhale, we're going to arch our back, belly button towards the ground, and we're looking up to the ceiling for our first cow. Exhale, we're pushing the ground away now, rounding the spine, chin to chest, pelvis pulling in a little, we're rounding the entire spine for our cat. Inhale, coming back through an arched spine for cow. Bum is to the ceiling, shoulders to the ceiling. Looking up. Exhale. Cat, we're looking towards our belly button here. We're pressing our hands into the ground. Inhale. In our cow, we're bringing our shoulder blades together. Really nice. Shoulder blades together. Looking up. Maybe bending ever so slightly the elbows if that works for you. Exhale. Pushing the shoulder blades apart here as we push into the ground. Belly button sucking it in. One more. Cow. And exhale. Cat. At the end of the exhale, we're coming back to a neutral spine, to a flat back. Inhale, exhale. Here, let's tuck our toes and push back into our first downward dog. And maybe feel how your toes feel different here. Try to remember how your toes felt last time in down dog. If you can't remember, that's also fine. But just see if you feel a bit more connected. And if you don't, that's fine. If you do, that's also fine. In down dog, our hands are still shoulder width apart. Index fingers are pointing forward. Whole hand is active. So the ball of the hand, the knuckles of the fingers, everything's pushing into the ground. We're protecting our wrists like that. Arms are straight, shoulder blades pulling apart, shoulders away from the ears. We have a flat back. If that means we need to bend our knees, that's fine. Feet are hip width apart, toes pointing forward. We're going to imagine that we're pulling our heels towards the ground. They do not have to touch the ground, but by imagining that, we're activating our calves. Let's stay here for a few breaths. One more breath. And next breath, we're going to gently start walking our feet, baby steps towards our hands. Stopping behind the hands, there can be a gap between your hands and your feet. Feet are still hip width apart. Let's just hang here for a moment, maybe bending the knees a little bit. Even with bent knees, you will still feel the stretch in the back of your legs. And yes, if you want, you can just sway from side to side, waking up your lower back. Breathing here. Now coming to stillness, center. Bending our knees, bringing our abdomen and chest in contact with our thighs, chin to chest, and we're rolling up here. Gently, slowly. And the chin is the last thing that lifts. Lovely. Let's come to the front of our mat. We are going to start with, well, we're going to move through various Sun Salutations, so let's start. Starting in Tadasana, so standing at the front of our mat, feet either together or hip width apart. Let's lift all our toes off the floor, spreading them wide like we did when we were sitting, and then lowering them one at a time, starting with the little toes, fourth toe, middle toe, second toe, big toe. If you do this every time you lower your toes, you'll get better at accentuating every toe. Maybe see a bit of mat between them. I like to raise my heels here as well to firm grounding. Rolling the shoulders up, back and down, opening the chest again. Arms are beside our body, and by opening the chest, our palms are facing the front of the mat already. Engaging our lower abs, our glutes a bit, staying nice and firm in the middle here, so that when we go for our forward folds, we will protect our lower back. I'm looking forward. If you want, let's just close our eyes for a breath here. Inhale, exhale. Let's open the eyes and inhale, raising our arms up. Exhale, engaging the core. We're folding down, hands either side of our feet, forehead towards the shins. Bend your knees if you need or want to. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins. We're looking down. Exhale, hands down. We're stepping back with the right foot, nice long step back, and we're lowering the knee, untucking the toes. We're staying in our low lunge for a breath. In our low lunge, imagine you're pressing the shin of your back leg, the right shin, into the ground. Just activating that leg helps with the hip flexor. You can also shift your weight a bit forward. Imagine you're shifting your knee a little forward. It doesn't have to move, but just that activation means that you're getting more out of that hip flexor stretch. Stay for one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, we're tapping the right toes, lifting the right knee. Let's stay here for another breath in that sort of lifted lower lunge. I find that sometimes intensifies the hip flexor activation. Sometimes it doesn't. It's okay if it's not more active for you. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and exhale, stepping back with the left foot into plank. Inhaling a plank and exhale, coming down, knees, chest and chin. We're sliding forward into cobra, untucking our toes as we're sliding forward. Elbows are into the body. You're feeling your lower arms touch your waist. We're looking forward. Exhale, tucking the toes. We're coming into a downward dog. If you want to step your feet in a little bit, you can do that. Setting our down dog up as we just did. We're staying here for a few breaths. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in and out through the nose still. And with the next inhale, we're stepping our right foot forward. We're staying here and we're going to lift our right hand off the ground, coming into an easy twist. Right hand's pointing to the ceiling, left hand's pressing into the ground. Stay for 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Pull that back heel, the left heel back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, hand down and stepping forward with that left foot. Inhale, hands to shins, we're looking to the ground. Exhale, forward, forward, forward. Inhale, engaging the core, we're coming up. Lovely. Exhale, hands into heart center. Let's lift our toes up one more time as we're sort of slowly starting. Lifting the toes, lowering them one at a time. Little toe, fourth toe, middle toe, second toe, third toe. Maybe as you look down on your feet, as you do that, you can see that one foot is much more nimble than the other. Alright, Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we're folding down. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, we're stepping back and lowering the knee with the left. Stepping back with the left and untucking the toes. We're staying here for a bit. Again, imagine that you're pressing your shin, the left shin, into the ground and maybe moving that right knee forward just a teeny tiny bit to get more out of that hip flexor stretch. Stay here for a few breaths, really nice. Okay, let's come onto our, flex the toes of the back foot and clip the knee. And staying here for a few breaths. Pulling, as you're here, pulling the heel of the left foot back. Inhale, exhale. Staying for another breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, and we're stepping back on the exhale. Into plank. Inhaling plank, heels pulling back, pushing the hands into the ground, shoulder blades pulling apart. Exhale, knees, chest and chin down. Inhale, untucking the toes, we're sliding into our cobra. Exhale, pushing into the ground, coming into our down dog, stepping the feet as we want. Breathing here. Inhale, we're stepping our left foot in between our hands and we're staying here. And we're raising the left hand up to the ceiling. Lovely. For our easy twist. Pressing into the right hand. Left hand pulling to the ceiling. Trying to stack our shoulders on top of each other. And also pulling that right heel back and left knee a little forward. Activating our hip flexors more. Looking really good. One more full breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, and with the exhale, we bring our left hand down, we're stepping forward with the right. Inhale, half forward fold, hands to shins, or fingertips to mat maybe, if you're warming up in the back of your legs. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, engaging the core, and we're coming up. Exhale, hands into hand center. Lovely. We're going to start adding here. Next one. Standing. Let's lift our feet, toes again, spreading them wide, lowering them one at a time, a bit faster now. Maybe lifting the heels if you want to. And we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, half forward fold, maybe fingertips to mat now, or still hands to shins. Exhale, stepping back. Let's come into a low lunge just for one breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, stepping back and coming into plank. Inhale, exhale, knees, chest and chin down. And I'm sliding forward into cobra, untucking the toes. Exhale, pushing into down dog, stepping the feet in a little bit maybe. One breath here. Inhale, exhale. The next inhale, lifting the right foot off the ground into a three-legged dog. Try to keep, for first breath, your hips in line, so not opening your hips just yet. Inhale, exhale. On the next inhale, we're lifting our foot higher, opening our hips to the right, and dropping the right foot to our glutes, bending the knee. So if we're trying to kick or touch our own bum. Breathing here, pushing equally into both hands. Trying to. And the more you sort of open your hip, the more you're also going to feel a stretch in your side abdominal muscles. Inhale and exhale, we're bringing the foot back to the ground for a down dog. Really nice. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, we're lifting the left foot off the ground. Again, fast. Three-legged dog, not opening our hips too much. Inhale, exhale, and inhale, lifting the foot further and dropping it back, bending the knee. Three-legged dog. Breathing in, trying to push into both hands equally. Letting your foot fold behind you as much as you're comfortable with. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale, bring that foot down into our down dog, and let's come into a brief child's pose. There's a lot of pressure on our shoulders. If you don't need a break, you could always stay in, up, down dog, but quite nice to have a little break here. Okay, from here let's come back, bring in a tabletop, from tabletop, pushing into our down dog, staying for 2 breaths. Next inhale, stepping up, right foot in between our hands, followed by the left on the exhale. Inhale, half forward, forward, fingertips to mat, hands to shins. Exhale, full forward, forward. Inhale, engaging the core, and we're coming up. Lovely. All right, let's do the next one. Going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down, full forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. We're stepping back with the left, lowering the knee, untucking the toes, and staying in this low lunge for 1 breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, stepping back into plank. Inhaling plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin down. Inhale, sliding forward, cobra. Exhale, coming into a down dog, stepping the feet in a little bit. I'm staying for 1 breath. I'm going to do something different now. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, we're raising right foot to the ceiling again. And exhale, we're stepping the right foot outside the right hand. Outside the right hand. So it's the foot is like halfway, maybe a little bit off the mat even, for lizard pose. Let's bring our knee down and untuck the toe, the left knee and foot. And we can either stay here, just in this high lizard, so to speak, or we could get a block, place that on the instep of the right foot, come onto the forearm of the right and the forearm of the left. Placing that block under our right forearm helps because again we're lifting the ground higher towards us, and that might help you with your knee alignment. You can try to remove the block and bring your right forearm to the ground, but what I want you to be very mindful of, and I'll show you from the front, is that when you're here, you don't want your knee to fall out. You want your knee as best as you can to stay in touch with your arm. If by coming onto the floor, your knee flops like that, that really takes the hip flexor stretch out of the pose. And that's where the block is really helpful, because we're lifting the floor towards us. Or we're just staying on our hands. Wherever we are, stay for 1 more breath. Come back to my mat. Inhaling here. Exhale. Let's inhale, tucking the toes, lift, first if you're on your forearms, please come onto your hands again. And now tucking your toes and lifting your knee. Let's take 1 breath here, pulling your heel back, the left heel back. Again, that might actually, being in this high lizard, might activate the hip flexor stretch in the left hip a bit more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, stepping back with the right foot, feet next to each other into a downward dog. We're going to come through a plank-like position into down dog. 1 more breath here. Inhale. Exhale, we're lifting that right foot again to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, we're bringing the right knee behind the right hand, right foot behind the left hand into pigeon. So the shin is out in front of us, more or less parallel to the short edge of the mat. The more parallel, and please bring your left knee and foot, left knee down, untucking the foot. The more parallel your shin is to the front of the mat, the more intense this pose is going to be. What you also can do here is your block. You can place that under your right glute or under your right thigh. That can be a bit helpful here. I'm going to stay here, hands on the ground, or if you wanted, come onto your forearms here. Might be a bit more intense. And if you wanted, you could even come onto your chest, so bring your forehead on the mat. None of these options are required. You can stay with your hands on the floor. But wherever you are, maybe try pulling your right hip back a little bit, left hip forward a bit. Feel how that changes the stretch in your glutes here. You could also tuck your left toes, lift the knee and sort of walk your foot back a little bit. The more the distance between your feet, the further back you pull your left foot, so to speak, the more intense the stretch is going to get again. Just play around, staying for one more breath. Inhale, exhale. I should stay for one more. Inhale, exhale. And now let's tuck the left toes, lift the knee. Hands are on the mat now, if you want your forearms. And we're going to lift here, we're coming back into a down dog. You might actually need to move your left foot a little bit if that's sort of snuck to the side. Nice. Feel the warmth in your right glutes. I can actually feel that leg has been working. Inhale, exhale. Now let's lift the left leg to the ceiling. We're doing exactly the same pose on the left side now. Inhale and exhale, we're stepping the left foot outside our left hand. Nice, really nice, well done. If you land somewhere in the middle, you can just help it with your left hand. There's no need to do that in one move. Again, we can stay here on our hands. We're letting our right knee down and tucking the toes. And you could also try getting your block, placing that on the inside of your left foot, bringing your left forearm on the ground and right forearm on the ground. Don't have to do this at all. And you could try removing the block and bring your left forearm on the floor. But again, try not to have your knee fall out. That really takes the stretch out of your hip flexor, which is why we are in this pose. It's better to have the block there, or just to be on your hands. Being on your hands is a brilliant version. And when you're on your hands, you can maybe have a little bit more control in a way of your hip alignment. Stay for a few more breaths. Try not to have too much weight in your hands, or especially in your right hand now. We don't want to overburden the right shoulder. Looking really good. Okay, coming back on our hands, put on our forearms. And we're going to inhale here, tucking the right toes, lifting the right knee. We're staying in this high lizard now with the right leg lifted for 2 breaths. Feel how that changes the stretch, if it does for you. Inhale and exhale, stepping the left foot back into a plank and then pushing into a down dog. Staying for 1 breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, but lifting the left foot off the ground again. And exhale, bending the knee, bringing the left knee behind the left hand, left foot behind the right hand. Coming down onto the right knee and unflexing, untucking the right toes. Coming into our pigeon here. And here again, you can stay on your hands. You could come onto your forearms. You could come to your chest. And you could place that block under your glutes or under your thigh if you find that comfortable. Or you could just stay on your hands. And maybe walking that right foot back a little bit and playing with your hip alignment, how you feel the stretch more. All our bodies are different. So I might feel it differently to you. It also very much depends on how much we stretch our glutes in pigeon, how much maybe we had a big run yesterday, that's why we're a bit tighter. So there's so many things that impact us. Maybe we're just really tired. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Let's tuck out right toes, lifting the knee and stepping back into a down dog. And again, you might have to step your right foot into the middle a bit more. Breathing here for a few breaths in a down dog. Inhale, we're stepping the left foot in between the hands, followed by the right on the exhale. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, full forward fold. Inhale, engaging the core, we're coming up with a nice flat back. And exhale, hands at heart center. Lovely. We're going to kind of do the same thing. We're going to switch lizard and pigeon around. We're now doing, that's the last time we're doing right and left. So front of the mat, actually with the last one we forgot to lift our toes, I forgot to sit down, I took your toes. So lift your toes, spread them and lower them a bit quicker to the ground. Lift your heels if you want. Standing in Tadasana, opening our chest. Inhale, exhale here, just a little break. And inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, stepping back with the right and staying in high low lunge here. So not lowering the knee, just pulling back the right heel and staying here for one breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, stepping back into plank. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, knees down, chest down, chin down. Inhale, sliding forward, cobra. Exhale, pushing into down dog. Staying in down dog for a few breaths, step your feet in if you want. Inhale, we're raising our right foot to the ceiling. Exhale, coming into pigeon. Pulling the foot in, right foot between left hand, right knee behind right hand. Bringing the left foot down, the knee down, and tucking the foot. And coming into whichever version of pigeon you just enjoyed or you want to do now. So that's your choice. We just did this pose. And stay here for a few breaths so that we get the full benefit of the pose. If you came onto your forearms or onto your chest, come back onto your hands. Hands under your shoulders. Tap our toes, lift left toes, lift the left knee, step back into a downward facing dog. Maybe bringing that left foot in a little bit. One breath here. And inhale, raising the right foot again. We're stepping it outside the right hand again, so into our lizard. Bringing our left knee down, untacking the left foot. Lovely. You stay here in whatever version of this pose you want to do. You could stay on your hands, come onto your forearms, either from the ground or have your block against the inside of the right foot. We're staying here for a little while. Okay, if you came onto your forearms, come back onto your hands, placing your hands on the inside of the right hand, right at the inside of your right foot, and the left hand sort of under your shoulder next to it. Like, sort of under the left shoulder but parallel to the right. Okay, inhale, exhale. We're going to inhale, tucking the toes, lifting the knee. Let's stay here for one breath. Inhale, exhale. What I want you to try and do now is step your left foot outside your left hand. So we're kind of in a squat now. Nice. We're going to come into Yogi Squat. And here, if you're worried about losing your balance, you could use your block and push that sort of behind, in the middle between your feet, by by the heels. Well, that's where it would start. And if you see me, you could really nicely sit on your block here and push in. That way you don't have to worry about losing your balance. And it's the same pose really, pushing in Yogi Squat. If we don't use the block, hands are on the floor and we're lowering our bum now to the ground. And as we lower our bum, we're raising our hands off the ground, placing them in heart center into a prayer. Our upper arms are against the inside of our knees and we're pushing our knees apart. Really nice. I'm staying here for a few breaths. We're trying to have our chest nice and tall. We're trying to sit nice and tall. What's really helpful here is if you're finding it really difficult, you might not bring your heels down to the ground. That's totally fine. If you find that uncomfortable, you could roll your mat up just real quick to have that double mat under your heels. Yeah, so that's a nice version. Or what also helps is if your feet are pointing out a bit like Charlie Chaplin feet. That makes it more stable rather than going straight pointing forward. Right, we've been here for quite a while. So inhale, and with the exhale, we're pushing into our heels and coming to standing. Nice, really good, really well done. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side now. Just pushing our mat back. All right, feet together. Let's lift our toes, spread them wide, or one at a time. Lifting our heels if we want to. Tadasana, arms by the side of our body. Hope that you feel that in your hips now. And we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, hands down. We're stepping back with the left and we're staying in this lunge with the knee lifted for one breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're stepping back into plank. In plank, pull our heels back, pushing the ground away. Inhale, exhale, knees down, chest down, chin down. Inhale, sliding forward, cobra. Exhale, we're pushing into the ground. Downward facing dog. Staying here for a few breaths. Next inhale, we're raising our left foot off the ground. We know what's coming now. And exhale, we're coming into pigeon. Left knee behind the left hand, left foot behind the right hand. Lowering the right leg, right knee, and tucking the toes. Again, we've done this before. It's coming to whatever version of this pose you like, want to do, or your body needs you to do. So staying here for a few breaths. You can still experiment with pulling your hip back or forward for that great stretch. Okay. Whichever version you are, let's come on to our hands. Hands are shoulder width apart under our shoulders. Inhaling here, exhale. Now let's tuck our right toes, lift the right knee, and stepping into a down dog. Again, you might have to bring the right foot a bit into the middle, it might be a bit outside, a bit too far to the edge of the mat. Inhale, exhale here, and inhale, we're raising the left foot, and we're stepping it outside the left hand. Really nice. We're lowering the right knee and tucking the right foot. we're staying here. You can stay in whatever version of the pose we've now done before. So we can stay on our hands, come onto our forearms. You can have that block against the instep of your left foot. Staying for a few breaths. As you're in these challenging poses, connecting with your breath in and out through the nose, it's really helpful to stay calm and connected. One more breath. Inhale, if you were in your forearms, let's come back onto our hands. And the left hand is against the instep of the left foot. The right hand is in line with the left under the right shoulder. Now let's tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and stay in this high lizard for a breath or two. Different pose. Okay. Inhale. We're going to try to step forward with the right foot against to the outside of the right hand. Really nice. Again, here you could bring that block in between your legs as we bend our knees, bring the bum towards the ground, hands into heart center. So you could be in this yogi squat, but you could sit on your block. Or you don't have to use the block. Then you could roll up that mat again so that your heels, if they're a bit lifted, have some support. I'm going to sit here for a moment. Pressing our upper arms against the knees. Activating that hip stretch. Also our calves are working like crazy. Okay, inhale and exhale, pushing into our feet and we're coming to standing. Amazing, well done. Yeah. Bring our feet together. That's the last set of Sun Salutations. We're coming to our balance. Our hips are nice and warm, hopefully. And we're going to balance in Eagle Pose, or Vulture Pose, Garudasana. So for that, we're balancing on one foot. Let's start standing on the left. So let's spread the toes of our left foot nice and wide. Lowering them down, maybe lifting the heel. We're going to really proper firm grounding here. I'm going to bend that left knee a teeny tiny bit, just teeny tiny bit. And actually here, you can also use your block. It's great help. Put that outside your left foot here. Alright, bending that left knee a little bit. Now we're going to raise the right leg, cross the right thigh over the left. And if you have your block, you could just rest your foot on the ground. Or you could try, if you can, cross your foot around your calf so that your toes are poking around the other side on your calf. I don't know if you can probably see that. So it's sort of a double twist here. And now, challenging our balance, going to bring our left hand on our right shoulder, crossing the right elbow around the left. We're going to try and do the same thing with our arms. So we're like a little, almost like little licorice sweets that like twisted around each other. And if you fall out of it, that's totally fine. I see me struggling. Let's stay for another 2 breaths, wherever we can be. And we're going to straighten, release. Amazing eagles there, well done guys. Not so much on this side. Alright, same thing on the right foot. So, lifting the toes of the right foot, spreading wide, lowering them one at a time, lifting the heel. Bring it down, nice from grounding. Bending, tiny bend in that right leg. Going to raise our left leg, crossing the left thigh over the right. Again, either you could have that block, or you could just leave your foot hanging there, or you could try, if you can snuggle the right toes past the calf. Now, Right hand on the left shoulder, left arm crosses over, either backs of the hands together or double twist here. Wonderful. It's looking so strong. Really impressed with you. Stay for another breath or two. Stay for 2. Alright, one more breath. And let's come out. Some days balances just don't want to work, and all you can do is smile and pretend like it's not bothering you. Alright, we're coming to the floor. We're going to do one more vinyasa, so not proper Sun Salutations, so theoretically I did not trick you. Feet together, and we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, hands down, stepping back into a plank. Inhale. Exhale, knees, chest, chin down. Inhale, sliding forward, cobra. Exhale, pushing back. Downward dog. And now from down dog, let's bring our knees down to the ground and come to a brief child's pose. And let's pull our hands under our shoulders, pushing into our hands. Sitting and kneeling, we've been here before. And let's just come to seated. What I want us to do now is, I call this seated yoga squat. So sitting with our knees bent, and we're bringing, if we can, our inner, otherwise you could just sit like this, you could just bring your forearms just below your knee, or you could try to bring your upper arms against the inside of your knees. And I sit literally the same pose, and I don't know if you guys feel this. I feel this still pretty intensely on my hips, but also you don't have to worry about balancing here, right? Like we're not worried that our bum's going to fall down, we're going to do a roly-poly or anything like that. So that's why this is actually quite a nice stretch, and what you can do is push your knees into your upper arms and push your upper arms into your knees. Have a little fight between your arms and your knees. Really activate those hip flexors, building strength in the legs as well. So take one more breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and let's release, come out, and stretch our arms, legs, arms out, legs out. Stretch your arms out as well if you want. I meant the legs. Yeah, I find that I discovered that recently, and I was like, that's quite nice. Okay, let's come to cobbler pose. Did that briefly in our warm up. Obviously now our hips are a lot warmer, so maybe you can bring your feet a lot closer to your groin, to your seat. If your knees, I'm just going to get my yoga block. If your knees are quite high up, because they've got relatively tight hips, you could do this if you had 2 yoga blocks or 2 whatever, you could books or cushions, you can rest them, just place them under your sort of thighs and just rest them in there. That can be quite nice, especially if you're sitting for a little longer. It can be really nice. Sort of relaxing pose. Feet are together, hands, fingers are the back of the hands, thumbs are on the ball of the foot, and we're pulling the feet apart like the pages of the book, as we always do. Sitting here nice and tall. We're sitting here for a few breaths. If you want to, you could come into a bit of a forward fold. But as you come into your forward fold, you don't want to round your spine. Just stay with a nice flat back. So come as low as you can or want to. What I find when I come quite low is that my bum automatically almost lifts itself off and moves back a little bit if this is a little bit tight. So your body kind of looks after you and you're just like, yeah, no, I'm just going to shift my bottom a bit back. And just looking slightly ahead of your feet here. Nice flat back though. The hinge is coming from the hip We're not doing anything with our neck or our back. We're obviously doing something, but you know what I mean. Sitting here, enjoying that that stretch to the inner thigh. And inhale, we're going to come up here. And we're now going to, just move this so I can show you, stretch the left leg out, the right leg is staying bent. We're going to come into Janusasana, head to knee pose. Here you could use your belt if you have one, or a towel or whatever. Bring that around the ball of your foot and pull yourself down like that, or you could hold your calf or your ankle or your foot. We're going to, again, hinging from the hips, so we're not rounding the back. So grab wherever you can hold, and then inhale, open the chest, look forward. Exhale, we're pulling ourselves down. And your drishti, your focus point, is either your ankle or your big toe, whatever you find more comfortable. For your big toe, you have to look up a little more. For your ankle, your neck's a bit more flatter. Inhale, we're looking up. Exhale, we're letting go. And we're going to come into twisted Janusasana. And here you can use a block again. So for the pose, we would bring so it's the left leg is that straight. So the left forearm comes on next to the leg onto the floor. And then we're going to try to either touch, just like let's do that. Touch an imaginary wall that your foot is pressed up against. Or if you find you can't really get your forearm on the ground, you find that too uncomfortable, again placing that block against the inner thigh, lifting the floor towards you. Lovely. Wonderful twists there. And we're looking either straight ahead, side to the ground, or maybe towards the top hand. Okay, and inhale, we're coming out of the pose. Nice job, really nice. We're coming back into Garudasana, cobbler pose. And so just bringing the left foot in. I'm just sitting here. How about we butterfly our knees, just moving them up and down. Nice. It was quite a playful, nice way to do that as well. Been here a while, doing nothing else. Alright, let's come to stillness. And we're now going to stretch out our right leg. So, left foot is against the inner thigh of the right, and we're going to come into a sort of non-twisted, just Janusasana. Again, holding your belt, coming down here, or holding your calf, your ankle, your foot. Wherever we are, the hinge is coming from the hip, so the back stays nice and flat. Inhale, we're looking up. Exhale, we're folding down, maybe pulling on our belt, on our calf, on our foot. Looking to either the ankle or the big toe, or also wherever you find comfortable. Staying here for a few breaths. Okay, inhale, we're looking up. Exhale, we're coming to seated. And now, we know it's coming, twisted, Janusasana, Parivrita, Janusasana. So either place a block against the inner thigh and place your forearm on there, or forearm on the ground, reaching that imaginary wall. Really nice. Staying here, stacking your shoulders on top of each other. Looking to the left palm or just ahead of you. Really nice twists there. And we're going to cartwheel that left arm to the other side, bringing us to seated. Right. Okay. let's do a little, just a brief Garudasana just to release that. Still another butterfly here, moving our knees up and down, just releasing our pose. So it's the thing with one-sided poses that we want to sort of acclimatize a little bit. And from here, we're going to come into Firelog Pose. For that, or double pigeon. For that, if you sit on your mat, and it's really helpful when you sit when the edge of your mat is right in front of you, because you want your shins parallel with the edge of the bottom shin. So let's start with the left leg at the bottom. It's parallel in front of you. It's like a straight line in front of you. And we're using the right leg and we're placing that on top. So the right foot is on the left knee. You could, if you have a really big gap here between your right knee and the left foot at the bottom, you can again place a block here. Using a lot of props today, but they're amazing. If you don't have a block, you don't want to use it, but you still find it a bit much, you could just shift your foot a bit more onto the calf. Or, if you think with your foot on your knee, you're like, I'm not feeling anything, which would be amazing. Just shift it a bit beyond. And so we're sitting here, we're building a firelog pile out of our shins. We're sitting here, and we are, if you want, you can just place your hands out in front of you, palms in front of you, or you could also do a little shoulder stretch, like eagle, with eagle arms. So left hand goes on the right shoulder, right arm goes, elbow crosses over, and coming into eagle arms. We're going to fold forward here, flat back again. We're trying to round our back, not so much. Obviously at some point anatomically we do round. Maybe you can bring your forearms to the floor, but maybe not, and that's also cool. I'm staying here for a few breaths. Inhale, we're coming out of the pose, releasing our arms, place our hands behind us, stretch our legs out, and just shake our legs. Then we're going on the other side. So right leg's at the bottom now, it's like sort of straight in front of us. If you have the mat in front of you, then it's in line maybe with the front of your mat. Taking the left leg and placing it on top. So either the foot is on the knee, maybe your block in between knee and foot. Maybe you're pushing it back a little bit, or a bit further if you're like not feeling anything. Right, sitting up nice and tall, and even just sitting up nice and tall, you might already feel that in the left glutes. If you want, you can just place your hands out in front of you like that, or we could do the little shoulder twist. So for that we'd bring, or shoulder stretch, sorry. For that we'd bring our right hand on the left shoulder, left arm crosses over. Inhale here, and if you want, folding down, hinging from the hip, trying to keep our back as flat as we possibly can. Maybe bring the forearms to the ground, that's also fine if not. Staying for a few breaths. The next inhale, coming up, we're releasing our arms. Nice. Bring the hands behind us, stretching our legs out and shaking them. We're moving to lying on our back. And we're going to do Reclining Eagle, which is a really great version if you, like me, were struggling with your balance today. By lying on our back, we obviously don't have to hold our balance. So we can maybe get further into the twist. So lying on our back, knees are bent, feet are as close to our glutes as we can get them. Or maybe not as close actually, but feet are on the floor. We're going to start like we did standing, so the right leg lifts and crosses, the right thigh crosses over the left thigh. And you can stay here, totally cool. Or you could see if you can sneak your right foot around the left ankle, left calf. If you're finding it difficult, the little trick is to sort of shift your weight to the left and use that to help you sort of wiggle. Alright, your legs are done. We're going to touch our left hand to our right shoulder, doing eagle arms again. Right arm crosses over, maybe back of the hands together, maybe palms touching. And now we're going to lift the feet or the left foot off the ground. We're going to come, bring that like hovering over the ground, and you really want to flex that left foot as if you were standing. So if someone came around now and picked you up and stood you up, you would be standing in eagle. Imagine that. But obviously we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want someone to just do that. But yeah, so imagine like the engagement in your body is the same as if you were standing, or not the same, but like sort of kind of the same. Same for another 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, releasing the arms, releasing the legs. Maybe straightening your legs out and like moving them again, shaking them out again. Maybe we're bringing our let's do that. So our feet are on the ground, knees are bent. We're doing windscreen wipers. So we're moving up from one side to the other. Our knees are like, our shins are like windscreen wipers on a car. Just moving them from side to side, releasing that a little bit. I don't know if you feel that, but it's so like that like warmth that rushes through your legs when you come out of the stretch is incredible. Alright, going to center. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side now, obviously. So, left leg lifts, left thigh across the right. And see maybe if you can, also what helps is to lift your right foot off the ground in order to get that last twist in. Or you shift to the side. We're touching our right hand to the left shoulder, left arm crosses over. We're coming into that twist of the arms. And we're flexing the right foot as crazy, or like crazy, and lifting the foot off the ground, or like very intensely. And we're staying here for a few breaths, again as if we were standing. Doing this lying down can actually be quite good for our confidence because we realize, oh, I can do it. It's just a balance that is difficult. So it might help you just feeling a bit more confident that this is actually something that you will get to at some point. Or might get to at some point. One more breath here. Inhale, and let's release the arms and releasing the legs. Stretch them out again, shake them out. Bending the knees, feet hip width apart, as the windscreen wiper thing again. Okay. We're remaining with feet on the floor, knees bent for our version. We kind of pretty much always do this, a little bridge. So let's do really gentle bridge. You could actually, if you have your block nearby, could take your block and do a supported bridge as well. For the supported bridge, we're just lifting our glutes up, placing the block on our sacrum, that bony part of the lower back, and we just chill here. Or if you wanted to do the active version, maybe bring your feet as close as you can to your glutes. Maybe you can touch your heels, maybe you can't, both good. Inhale, exhale here, and the next inhale, we're lifting glutes off the ground. And you're also pushing into your feet. And by pushing into your feet, you're bringing your chest close to your chin. And we're staying here for 3 breaths. Inhale, with the next exhale, rolling down slowly. Upper back, middle back, lower back, pelvis. Bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug. And if you want, you could spread your feet wide, bend the knees and come into a happy baby pose. For happy baby, either hold your calves, your ankles or the outside of your feet. However you're holding, your arms are going alongside the inside of your knees. And pulling your thighs into your body. You can stay here steady. 6. Or you could rock from side to side if you wanted. A little back massage as well. Okay, coming back to center. Staying for a moment in stillness. And releasing your feet and your legs on the floor. You can either stretch them out in front of you, hip width apart for traditional Shavasana, or if you wanted to work your hips a little bit more here even, bring the soles of your feet together for a reclining cobbler, Supple, which just gravity, pulling your knees to the ground. That means that your hips will be stretched a bit more. But we've done a lot of that, so if you don't want to do more, that's totally fine. Wherever you are, have your arms by beside your body, or if you enjoy a bit of biofeedback, a bit of feedback from your body, feeling the breath, you could also have your hands on your abdomen and chest. Just breathing here. We're having a little body scan. Start at the top of the head. Scanning through, and if we feel any last tension in the body, we're going to try and release that. Starting at the top of the head, we're going past the forehead. Nice, smooth forehead. Past the eyes, we're not clenching to read anything. Past the jaw. Teeth are slightly separated. Lips can be slightly open or closed. Tongue is just lying in the mouth. Throat. Our shoulders are soft. Upper back is heavy on the mat. Back is soft. Our abdomen and chest are gently moving with each breath. Glutes just lying there, we're not clenching our bottom, just relaxed. Same goes for our abdomen, we're not sucking it in, we're not trying to, get into really tight jeans. We're just lying here, just relaxed. Your hips are hopefully really nice and soft. Thighs, quads and hamstrings just lying there, not doing anything. Your knees have done a lot. Hopefully warm and soft. As are your calves. Feet relaxed, not flexed or pointed, just somewhere in the middle. You can feel the air around your feet and your toes. I'll just lie here, trying not to fidget for a couple of minutes. slowly. Come back into your body. Come back into this moment. We take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Exhale. Do that one more time. You could even exhale through your mouth with a sigh. Inhale and exhale with a sigh if you want. Bring some movement into your body. Move your fingers and toes, hands and feet. Bring your feet together, your arms overhead. Now full body stretch. Make yourself long and release. And hug your knees into your chest, rocking from side to side for a little lower back kidney massage. And dropping to the right when you're there next. Little crawl up position. Pressing into the left hand in front of your chest. Come up here. Sit. Cross-legged. Oh, actually, let's come to kneeling. Not so much kneeling. Let's end how we started. If you want, you can also sit cross-legged, obviously. Sit here and have like maybe 2 breaths just here in silence. Close your eyes for those 2 breaths. Let's open them again. And inhale, let's do a big circle with arms. Exhale, pulling our hands down. And if you want, let's bring our thumbs to our third eye for clear and kind thoughts. Thumbs to our throat for clear and kind words. Thumbs to our heart for clear and kind feelings to others and to ourselves. And want to bow with gratitude to practice yoga and gratitude to ourselves for moving today. Thank you so much. And one last thing on feet. I have this thing, I'll bring it a bit closer. This thingy is like a foam roller for your feet. So sometimes, like, obviously I place it on the floor and then I roll it around. And it's really, really unpleasant. But I find that also kind of cool, and sometimes I don't do it at all. I probably haven't done it in like 6 months or something, but recently I've done it a bit more, and you can just get it on Amazon, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like, why do people do foam rolling? It just like feels like you're sort of relaxing your feet a bit more, if you want to give it a go.